Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to school. Today is Monday, and we are going to be beginning our lessons on theme. The week number is who knows? I have completely lost track of what week we are on, but hopefully, we will be learning about theme, and maybe by the end of the week, we will know what week number we are on. All right, I'm going to go ahead and start doing day one. I just wanted to go ahead and start talking about our day one lesson. When you guys are, when we're learning about theme, I know a lot of you guys probably know what the word theme, you guys have heard it in school, but when we're learning about theme, you guys have already been reading books since you guys were younger, and you guys have probably learned a lot from books. But we're going to be talking explicitly about what theme is in what the theme is in a oh my god. All right. Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to school with Mr. Rosa. Today is ELA class for me, and we will be doing ELA for the week. This week, we're going to be talking about theme, and we're going to be talking about theme in literature. Let me just say a couple things about theme. A lot of you guys have already learned theme before. You guys are probably just hearing the word theme again for the many times that you guys have heard it before. What I want you guys to focus on is that we are going to be focusing on reading and details from the text to figure out the theme. There is no longer going to be the question saying that what did you learn from a story? In these lessons you're going to be reading, you are going to be learning about characters' actions. So some of the things that I want you guys to be talking about and when you guys are reading is thinking about how characters are acting in a story. So let's just go ahead and begin the lesson here. In a fictional text, a theme is a lesson about life that an author wants readers to understand. When you guys read stories, usually the stories have a lesson or a moral. And one example that comes to mind is The Three Little Pigs. Everybody probably has read that story. One example, a fictional text might present the lesson that loyalty to friends is important, or it might develop the idea that living a full life sometimes means taking risk. Themes are always developed by a text details. That's really important. We're going to be learning about details in a text. And one way to determine the theme is to look at how characters respond to challenges. So let's go ahead and go back to The Three Little Pigs, which was my story that I was talking about earlier. The Three Little Pigs are three different characters, quite possibly four if you count the wolf. Three different characters, three different actions, three different responses to a problem. Everybody knows the story. The first little pig made his house out of hay, the second one out of sticks, and the third one out of bricks. The first one and the second one were quite lazy. They didn't care about working hard. The third one was very committed to working hard. He did his best to build his house. At the end, the other two little pigs ended up in his house because their houses were too weak and the wolf almost ate them. Meaning that the story teaches the reader that you need to work hard, you need to be committed, you can't be lazy, and if you do that, you will be rewarded. So a challenge, for example, is a problem a character must face. So in this case, a challenge was that they built really crappy houses. There was a wolf, and they could have been eaten by the wolf because of their crappy homes. Let's go ahead and watch a quick video on theme, and then we're gonna go ahead and watch this cartoon, and we're going to talk about the challenge that the girl faces, how does she respond, and what does that tell us about the theme.
Enjoy this movie, then visit brainpop.com for much more. I'll take the R2 unit. Come on, Moby, how many different takes do you need? No, I don't want to switch roles. Dear Tim and Moby, how do I figure out the theme of a story? And why is finding the theme so important anyway? From Bob A. Thanks for the questions, Bob. A theme is a central message or idea woven into the action of a story. Themes give a story meaning by linking the fictional world with our own. They comment on issues from our everyday lives and from the wider culture. They're a huge part of what makes films and literature so fascinating. If you've ever read a fable, you already know a simple type of theme. Fables always include a moral, a lesson about life. Take the tortoise and the hare. The hare is always bragging about how fast he is, so the tortoise challenges him to a race. The hare is so confident, he stops to take a nap halfway through. Slowly, but surely, the tortoise passes the hare and wins. It might seem like the story is all about speed and running. The larger message is that patience and determination pay off. The race is used to communicate a lesson that can be applied to real life. Themes are usually more subtle in movies and novels. It's easy to be wowed by spaceships, aliens, and princesses, and those are essential parts of the Star Wars story. But to find the themes, we have to read between the lines. Well, not literally. We have to look for patterns or ideas that come up frequently. The repetition of a word or phrase is a good sign you're onto a theme. We call those recurring words or images motifs. The Force is one big motif in Star Wars. We learn more about its symbolic meaning each time it's mentioned. Well, like at the beginning, the Force seems to be just a magical power. But over the course of the series, we learn that it's much more than that. It's a universal energy that connects all living things, and a spiritual balance between light and darkness. Themes are often set up as pairs of opposing ideas, like with the Force. At its most basic level, it represents the struggle between good and evil, but it's also about nature versus technology, the tension between instinct and logic, or the choice between freedom and destiny. And they sound complicated, but those themes are all right there in the movie. We find them by analyzing the story elements. For example, we can examine lines of dialogue, what the characters say. Like when Darth Vader calls the Death Star a technological terror. Then he says the colossal weapon is nothing compared to the power of the Force. His comments set up technology and nature as opposing ideas. Plot, the action in a story, is another great place to hunt for themes. Okay, Moby-Wan, I will use the Force. I will trust my intuition. We did it, R2. We destroyed the Death Star. Right, Luke is successful because he relies on the Force. His natural instincts are victorious over destructive technology. Well, in a great story, all the elements work together to support the themes. Look at the settings in Star Wars, where the action takes place. The Death Star is massive and spotless. Like a lot of advanced technology, it feels sinister and cold. Compare that with the Rebels' ships. They look and feel lived in, like a home. Even the costumes support that contrast. Stormtroopers wear masks, and their uniforms are totally rigid. They look more like machines than people. Compare that to the Rebel outfits, what we good guys wear. Our clothing is loose, comfy, and made of organic materials. Well, appearance is a key part of characterization. That's all the ways a character is portrayed, how he looks, speaks, thinks, and acts. Remember when we first meet Moby-Wan? He lives a simple life, not surrounded by gizmos and gadgets. He's a respected Jedi Master, but unlike the bad guys, he's humble and has a sense of humor. Yeah, those themes really resonate in today's high-tech world. Anyway, let's get this place cleaned up. Dad's gonna be home soon. What? You are my father? No! 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 Visit us at brainpop.com for more on this topic and hundreds of others. You'll find movies, games, quizzes, and activities.
All right, that is quite simply the greatest video in Brain Pop history. Let's just accept it. Miss Huggins, you cannot deny it. All right, guys. So I have a super duper awesome anchor chart that you are going to go ahead and write in your notebook. Teachers, you may pause the video for students to write this on their notebook. I am going to go over the anchor chart very quickly, and then after that, we will move on to our first activity, which is our cartoon. So our anchor chart, the theme is theme. Theme is the main message, lesson, or moral of the text. So think about this. When you come to school, you learn something. So when you're reading a story, you also need to learn something. That is the theme. It's what you come out with from reading a story. The theme can be stated in text. Fables and myths might tell the theme at the end. So for example, at the end of an Aesop's fable, it tells you the theme of the story. But sometimes they don't tell you the theme and you just have to kind of figure it out, or it just kind of like hits you in the face. It just comes at you and you're just like, oh, that's what it meant, or that's what I was supposed to learn. The theme can be implied, so it could use text clues to figure it out. So what happened to the characters? So again, talking about characters and what's happening to them. How do the characters react to what's happening to them? What do the characters learn? Sometimes the characters learned a lesson and you're like, that was the theme. How do the characters grow or change? Characters go from point A to point B in a story, meaning that at the beginning of the story, they might be really childish, but at the end, they're like, oh man, I shouldn't be acting like that. Mr. Rose is getting upset. The class is looking at me weird. I should probably be behaving a little bit more. And then that character learned that Mr. Rosa and the other people were looking at him like, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. And then that character learned to start behaving better. That was just a quick example. All right, so ask, what is the author trying to teach me? So that's what you need to be asking yourself before you start reading a story. So when you open a book, you're like, okay, what is the author gonna teach me? And now you're ready to figure out the theme. Some examples of theme are, you can overcome challenges, be loyal to friends, cooperate to achieve a goal. Other examples, don't be lazy. Most of the time when you're finding the theme in a story, it's not just one word, it's usually a sentence. So you have to kind of like come up with a whole sentence to determine, to tell the teacher the theme. All right, so now you may pause and write the chart on your notebook. All right, so let's go ahead and think about it. And then at this point, teachers, you can either break up your class into groups or you can just do this whole group. Doesn't matter. What you're going to do is you're going to look at this picture cartoon and you're going to think about what's going on. One thing that I need you guys to think about is, what is the setting of this cartoon? Who are the characters in this cartoon? What is happening to the characters, and how do the characters react to what happens to them? All right, so now I will let you guys pause so that you guys can go ahead and start discussing this with your class. Now that you have discussed this with your class and you have awesome ideas and you have collaborated very well, let's go ahead and move on to the next part of this activity. This is what we call a graphic organizer. When you use a graphic organizer, you are going to be putting the information of what you talk about into the graphic organizer. And these are very neat because it tells you where to write the information. So for example, on this top right box right here, it says characters. So you will put the characters in that box. On the next box, it says setting. We know that the setting is where the story takes place, when the story takes place. So we put information like that into the setting box. The next box underneath is character experiences. This is where you're going to put what experiences the characters are going through in a story. You can write this down in a couple words or a sentence. And then in the bottom, you are going to write down the theme of this cartoon. So let's go back to the cartoon very quickly. Monday afternoon, 3 p.m., soccer tryouts. There's two girls standing there. One has a soccer ball, the other one has a purse, right? They look interested in that sign. Monday evening, 7 p.m. Did you make the team? No, but with more practice, I know I'll make it next year. What are the characters in the story? So we have the two girls. Seems like one of them is an adult, the other one's a younger one. What is the setting? I think they're either at school or in a yard. Clearly, there are some soccer fields close by because there's a soccer tryouts sign. Character experiences. One character is interested in soccer tryouts. She probably tried out, didn't make the team, but at the end, she says, with more practice and hard work, I will make the team next year. So let's go ahead and talk about what the theme is. So the theme in this story would be, just give me 1 second. The theme in the story would be that if you don't succeed at first, you need to keep trying and working hard. So let's go ahead and go over our chart. The characters in the story are an adult girl and an adult and a girl. The setting is the soccer tryouts. Again, soccer tryouts or playground, soccer field. You know, I would accept those two answers. Character experiences that I wrote down where the girl is excited about trying out for the team. Look at that. A lot of details from just a cartoon. Girl is excited about trying out. When she doesn't make the team, she's confident that she'll make it next time with more practice. So the theme is if you don't succeed at first, you keep trying and you will eventually succeed. Okay? So that is how I figured out the theme of a story by just looking at a couple pictures in a cartoon. Well, I hope that this video was very helpful. I will see you guys tomorrow for your next lesson. Peace out, guys.